Hi everybody and welcome back to another channel. This is episode 7, looking at our creative build tips, and today we're going to be looking at plots 91 to 100 on the SK server. Yes, we finally hit the big 100, but we have lots left to do because I can see we are already past 200 builds on the server, which is incredible. But before we get onto the videos, guys, don't forget to subscribe because we are edging closer to that big 200. I want to hit that by July, which is going to be our 1-year anniversary of the channel. So guys, hit that subscribe, join in, help support the channel. That would be much appreciated. One last thing, yes, my skin is different. I accidentally lost my skin. What a derp. Hopefully we'll find that by the next episode, and I will be back with my bow tie, but for now I look rather smart, don't I? So guys, without further ado, let's get on to the episode. So folks, here we are at build number 91, Snow Temple by Clickety, and this one's a smaller build on a larger plot, which might sound strange, but I think it's actually a good idea, and let me show you why. But before we start, let's have a little look around and enjoy this lovely teeny weeny little church here. I think that's a great little build. To get so much detail on such a small build is good build skills, so well done Clickety there. But what we have here is what looks like some really good custom trees. I really like them, very good, and this massive cliffside and sort of temple building, I think it looks like. Now you'll notice that if we peek over the top and spoil the illusion, this doesn't actually fill the whole plot. There's a whole load of empty there. But do you know what? I don't think that matters at all. If you are beginning to learn world edit and things like that, it's great to start with smaller sections like this and practice before you get to bigger builds. So yeah, good idea. A couple of things to note though for you guys learning how to be better in creative. Ruined bridge here. Great idea. Like the idea of having ruined things. What might make this a little bit better or more convincing perhaps? I would suggest build the bridge for real. Make it as if it was a perfect bridge and then wreck it. You tend to have more realistic looking ruins that way, and that can be done on small things like this bridge, or even if you wanted to ruin something much bigger like this temple, build it perfectly and then smash it up afterwards is a great tip. And I like the details in here. Again, we've seen this trick a lot before, but we've got the mirror idea here. Obviously we've got no lighting in here though, which is a bit of a shame. Let's turn on night vision and we'll see it a bit better. There you can see he's mirrored the build there. Good practicing of the mirror technique, good practicing of the terrain, and overall good style. One last thing I would like to say is I'm not too sure about that white on white. It makes the build a little hard to see against its background, so maybe think about slightly more careful palette choice there. Maybe a slightly different tone of cliffs would have made that build stand out a little more. But well done Clickety, thanks for letting us visit, and keep on building. And now we're on to build 92, The Lost Church by Sir Flammer. And this is another great effort from a builder that looks like they are I've got some good build skills and good terrain skills. This is a really solid small plot here. You can see some nice terraining, some smaller but still custom trees with lots of variety, slightly different shapes and sizes, more slightly larger ones and slightly smaller ones. That gives a good feel. This bridge, brilliant effort. Really like that. That's a really solid looking bridge. That really looks like those pillars are supporting all the weight of that bridge. So well done. And a great little church build here, as the name implies. I think you'll agree. It's got a good level of detail. It's interesting. It's got a fairly unique style. Couple of things to note. I do like the way that this builder has made their build sit nicely on the terrain. Now the terrain only goes up by, you see here, one block there, and then goes down a block or two on this corner. It's not a great deal of height difference on the terrain, but the way they've made that build look like it's sitting naturally on the terrain and not on a big flat piece of ground is really good, and something that everyone should think of doing when they're building things. Don't just let them sit on flat squares, because that's really quite uninteresting building work. So yeah, one last thing as well. There is obviously some interior in here, a little bit, but we can't get in the door. So if you are going to make an interior to a build, guys, leave your doors open on your plots so we can go and explore them, please. And for you, Sir Flammer, open that door and get that interior finished so everyone can really enjoy the inside of your church. Now folks, get ready to get your socks knocked off by this. This is an incredible build, and what I think we can all agree is a very, very imaginative build. Look at this. This is Bell Lord by UMCONFORTABLE. Really hard name to say. But as you can see, this is one prodigiously talented builder. This is fantastic and something I have never seen before. And these walls, I am intrigued. I would love to have a conversation with UMCONFORTABLE about how they did the designs for these pixel designed walls. These clouds and things are fantastic. If they were done by hand, incredible, and must have taken so long. And a little detail, I know this is amazing in the main build, but we have to notice, not only do we have this fantastic kind of plant life growing here, or whatever it is, I'm not sure. Or are they monkeys? Oh, they look like little monkeys with very long tails, maybe. I don't know. But look, the shadows are actually on the wall. Look at that for thinking of detail there. That's amazing. Well done. But as you can see, a very surreal monster build here. And if you're learning how to do organics, if you're venturing into that as a creative builder, what I will say is, and I hope other people agree with me on this, if you're going to build organics, the more surreal and otherworldly, usually they're slightly more forgiving, because when you do real things like the human figure, our brains are programmed to recognize those shapes and those forms. So we spot mistakes in them very, very easily. So they're much, much harder to do in Minecraft. But these surreal monsters, we have no reference in our heads for what they should look like. So you can probably get away slightly more with the shapes that you build them. Nevertheless, this is fantastically built. These horns, this strange hair-like stuff coming off the back of its head, every single tendril made separately. It's fantastic. The level of detail is amazing, and I will be honest, a level of building that I have not yet attained. So we can only stand and admire. UMCONFORTABLE, well done, fantastic plot. Anyone learning surreal or organic builds, come and have a look at his plots and get some inspiration. As we get to the halfway point of our episode, we're on to build 95, Underground Bunker by Craella. And before we see the plot itself, we just need to have a little look at these boards put for us by Craella. Obviously had some help from Blueboat teaching Voxel. Thanks, Blueboat. And they said there's a little story to look at here. I'm not going to read that all out because that would take ages and we don't want a massive episode again. Basically, Craella has read a book about a family in an underground nuclear bunker that's been made to keep them safe whilst the air outside is still toxic. So that's the background of this plot. So let's go and explore. And first things first, done a really nice job of this terrain here. Some arches and waterfalls, nice little speedboat there. Obviously rich people live in this bunker. Not too much to see overground other than good, solid, quality, varied, interesting exterior. And then a helipad. Obviously you need a helipad to get into a bunker. And we follow the path down and we're going to go underground and see what this bunker is like. And some really good details. So first things first, we're going to go down a lift shaft, obviously, into this lift, which is already down here. And I like that lift, lovely glass lift. Little details here as we go further and further underground. We're going to go down another lift shaft. Look at this, even bigger one this time, all the way down. Well, missed. Ha! And then we've got this fantastic metal lift, very well done, and then into the main bunker. Now, Craella has said that there are different areas, living areas, labs, all kinds of things for a whole family to live down here, all inspired by this story. And so you can see here we've got some interesting detailing here, and let's have a little look around here. Some things it's not overly obvious what they are. Maybe a server room here possibly to run all the computers. That looks like a laptop, doesn't it? I think that might be it. Let's see if we can find some of the living areas. What's down this way? Ooh, interesting. I'm not sure what that is. What do you think that is? Oh, it's another lift shaft. Holy moly, how deep does this thing go? Maybe we should go into the other corridor first before we go down, shall we? So let's go back out here and down this way. Let's have a look. So what do we have here? Maybe where a hazmat suit should be. I don't know. More laptops, more machinery. Obviously, the inner workings. It looks like a control room. Oh, great details there. The seats nicely done there. Lots of good detail. Lots of very subtle storytelling on this plot, which is what I like. It's not in your face. It's not overly obvious. You have to explore and use your imagination to fully understand what's going on. And I think that's a good thing in this instance. Now, here we go. The owner's family lives in... okay, the living area. Here we go. It's a very cold-looking corridor for a living area. I suppose that's what you get for living in a bunker. Welcome to the secret nursery. This is where all the secret babies live. Very good. So we've got playrooms. Oh, can't get through the door. Oh, that's unfortunate. There we go. Little rocker there. I'm not sure why the baby's room has skulls in it. Craella, in the comments below, if you've watched this, please explain why you put skulls on the floor of the nursery. I can't get back out. There we go. And over here we have the crib room. We're going to have the same problem, aren't we? Yeah, of course we are. Look at those. Fantastic building there. Little babies' cribs. Very well done. Not sure about the pink and blue gender thing. Tut tut. It's not very PC, is it? No, only kidding. Okay, where are we going next? We have... Ooh, okay. From lab to babies' rooms to what feels like we're in some kind of grand mansion. Someone's gone to a lot of effort to make this place feel a bit more homely. There's one giant... It can't be a cinema room. This looks like a lecture theatre, doesn't it? There must be a lot of people living down here. I thought this was supposed to be a family's place. Well, it must be a big family. And book cupboard, storage. This is great. I think we're going to have half the episode exploring this place because it is massive. Well done, Craella. Must have put a lot of time into this build. There's corridors everywhere, and we cannot possibly cover everything in one episode. So we'll have a quick fly through. Enjoy this area and see what's back out this way, because there was another corridor off the lift, and oh, it loops around 2 corridors around into the living area. There you go. So it comes all the way back around this way. Very clever. Let's have a look down what I think must be the last floor. What's this? This is the normal laboratory. The owner doesn't let his kids down here. This place is quite new. There's some expansion occurring in areas. Okay. Empty. Yes, very empty. More good use of the end rods for lighting. Obviously, as it's an underground bunker, we have no natural light, and so some modern lighting needed. I love the water fountain there. Nice touch. One more little thing here. What's this? This looks like... interesting subjects. Zam the zombie? Connor the creeper? What is going on down here? Some strange experimentation happening in the lab, obviously. So there you go, guys. Massive plot. Come and have a look for yourself, because we have scratched the surface. Some really good details, and well done, Craella. Once again, we're in for something completely different this episode. There is a lot of variety and a lot of skill on show. This time we're in build 96, Alchemist's Workshop by Ultrabrain. And this, as we've come to expect from Ultrabrain, is fantastic. and some things we can take from this as creative builders. For starters, Ultra Brain has been playing with building at different scale, whereas in a normal Minecraft world a door is only 2 blocks high. As you can see, this door is what, 30, maybe 40 blocks high. That's a massive door, and this is something that's really worth trying if you've hit a bit of a rut in your creative journey, you don't know what to do next. Try building things much larger than you normally do. It means you can play about with a lot more detail, things that you wouldn't possibly be able to do, like putting a quill and ink on a table. You could never put that level of detail into a normal scale Minecraft build. When you build at this large scale, you can do lots more interesting details. The design on the rug, the flasks, this whole the whole thing has got so much more detail. Look at this furnace-like thing here. It's fantastic. The little steps, the iron tools hanging on the wall. It really is very interesting and imaginative, and it's worth trying to do things at a different scale because it forces you to think differently and build differently. It stops you doing things on autopilot. Lovely details like that, the little candle here under the flask. It's a fantastic plot. So well done, Ultra Brain. One thing I would say is Ultra left a note here, find the mouse hole Easter egg. I'm sorry, Ultra, we had a look and we failed miserably. So maybe leave another clue, or maybe I'm just a bit slow. But either way, great work and lots for us to learn from. And now, folks, for our second of 3 plots by Uncomfortable in the same episode. We could almost name the episode after them. This is Build 97, Station 16. Slightly different, slightly more realistic and less fantastic in terms of terrain and structures, but still got that signature style of the pixel art backgrounds, which is very unique. There are some really interesting points that we can learn from on this plot, and the first one I want to look at is the waves here, which are really interesting because there's a lot of plots with water. Some are really flat, really fairly boring. Some go some way to showing motion and waves. Uncomfortable has gone all the way out here with these massive, great big, towering, crashing waves here. You can see this enormous amount of energy and turmoil in this as they crash up against these rocks and hollow out as they fall away. It's a really dynamic look and feel to the water, very unique. I like that. Kind of gives the idea that whatever this orb is, it's creating an enormous amount of some kind of energy. As well, we've got some nice builds, not overdone, but subtle enough. I like them. There's a nice path following through the terrain here that we might walk up. One little note of criticism is if you're going to make a path lead up to a point, do something with that point. I mean, all this does is make us fall out of the back of the build, which is a real shame. Those little details, yes, you might make those little gaps and nobody noticed normally, but the path leading right up to it really does highlight that little error. But apart from that, amazing. One thing that I have not seen before and is a really good technique is this use of the spider webs. When you use so many of them, what happens is, look, you get shadows on the undersides of the clouds, which gives a really dynamic feeling. So the combination of the shadows on the spiderwebs and those glass rods there making rain really does give a fantastic effect of rain clouds there. Really clever effect. So really interesting plot, lots to learn from, and not the last we will be seeing of Uncomfortable. So in an earlier plot we were talking about playing with scale with Ultra Brain's Alchemist workshop, making everything far bigger than usual, and in the next plot we see the same principle used in the exact opposite way. So let's have a look. This is Build 98, Paradise Falls Nuclear Facility by Old Seed, who we have seen before. But this time we have something that is very, very large, made very small in detail. Well, not very small, but smaller. And this valley floor here underneath is a case in point. When looked at from a distance, because all of the details are made quite small, all the trees are made small but densely packed together, when we look down on them it really does look like a huge forest, but seen from very far away. If we go right down here and have a look at how they're actually built, they're all really fairly small trees, all densely packed in, you know, no more than 8 to 10 blocks high each, but the effect of packing them all in and then setting them so that we look at them from so far above is that it gives that idea of a massive, massive place seen almost as if from an aeroplane high above. And the illusion carries on as we come to the actual build itself. Again, a nuclear facility, you would imagine, is enormous, and we could build this same build maybe 4 times bigger and it would work just as well. But because he's kept it in scale, you think that it's a bigger build than it is, even though, you know, it's a fairly humble size. We've got dormitories and living quarters for the scientists, offices here, lots of nice details to the builds, nice modern industrial style. Ooh, and I missed that. There's an underground tunnel. I didn't see that when I was looking at it before. That's fantastic. There is an underground walkway. Where does it lead us to? It leads us to the actual facility, because we're going underneath the runway. What a lovely touch. Very nice. But let's have a quick look. Nice airplane there. In through the security gates. Checking nobody's bringing anything dangerous in to the facility. And lots of good details here. Computer servers, reactor core. So an idea of a server room there, like the details there. Very nice. And then we have, let's see, which way do we go here? Generator 3, generator 2, and authorized personnel only. Interesting. What is this? These must be the coolant rods. You see, this is what we've talked about in previous episodes. If you understand roughly how a building works, it's much easier to make these details. We've got pipes leading to these chambers doing something. It's a great idea. Pressure tank stores nuclear fuel. Someone really does have a very good understanding of how a nuclear reactor might actually work, and that has helped them to figure out the detailing for their builds, which is fantastic. And then we come out the back here, all of these pipes link into the big chimneys here, and fantastic detail, really interesting. Again, tells a story because of the knowledge and understanding of how this would be in real life. So great build there, Old Seed. Some tricks for builders, old and new, to try alike. And yeah, really good stuff. So for our penultimate build for the episode, we are back with the silliest name on the server. And we have build 99. This is ILES des CHAMANS. Very French, love it. And we have a little bit of explanation here, which I think we ought to look at before we look at the build itself. Hello, welcome to my build. I started this build to practice diagonal building, and it's spiraled into what you see before you, which I think is helpful context. Because as we were saying earlier, if you're trying something new, a new technique, a new style, a new kind of building, this is what you should do. Find plots, find ideas, and practice them in small before you go absolutely crazy with a massive build, because you will find it really daunting to learn something new and build a massive build at the same time. And this is a perfect example. We have a mainland, an island with a small village on it. When we look from a distance, you can see there are different angles being tried for each of the buildings to see if they would work, and I have to say, I think has done a really good job. On the whole, if this was a first or an early attempt at diagonal building, as we will see, they have pulled it off really rather well. One good thing I think if you're going to build these diagonal buildings is it's really hard to detail them, obviously because of the weird diagonal lines. So putting them closer together and making you walk through these narrow ways through the buildings kind of takes the edge off that, makes it a little less like you can investigate every detail and find all the weird things. If you're down here, you can't really look too hard at the details, which means you can it's a lot more forgiving. You can get away with a lot. A little armor shop here, half interiored, good start. But yeah, really good effort, OO. Really nice diagonal builds, and that it was fleshed out and made something more of was even better. Lovely little lighthouse on the mainland here. So yeah, great effort. And I cannot wait to see what you do when you try some of these diagonals at a larger scale, OO. And by the way, really enjoyed your little handmade ocean coral reef here. Lovely little touch to finish off. And finally to our last build of the episode, and it is a stunner. I said before that we would have 3 plots from Uncomfortable, and this is the third of 3 build 100 Cloud Beast, and it really is quite a beast and such an impressive build. I think you can agree. The level of detail and sophistication all around in this build is incredible, and such a unique style. I know I've said that before, but it is very rare to see things in Minecraft creative or survival that you've never really seen before, and this is one of those moments. Such a fantastical beast, this Cloud Beast. I would love for Uncomfortable to give us a little interview, give us an insight into their techniques for building, because I think we could learn far more from them than from me wandering around giving my opinions. So hey, if you're there, Uncomfortable, hit me up in the comments and maybe we could do something. That would be fantastic. But for now, my humble observations are all we have to go with. So let's have a little look. And aside from the fact that this is absolutely gorgeous, look at the colour palettes chosen, so vivid and vibrant. There are a couple of interesting things. One, I've said it before, but I would love to know how those pixel backdrops are done, whether they are done by hand, because if they are, that's phenomenal. But this main organic, this horned semi-aquatic beast is incredible, and more than anything because of its complete lack of symmetry. Most people, even when making organics, will tend to make things slightly symmetrical in places to make things easier. When doing faces, you will put them on a straight or on a diagonal and make everything exactly symmetrical. So it would be tempting on a build like this to slap a diagonal line right down the middle of this and just go mirrored one side to the other, and there we go, perfect. But if you look at the details of this, it isn't like that. It is completely handmade one side to the other by the looks of things. I cannot detect the symmetry, and yet at the same time it looks symmetrical in an organic way. Really, really clever building, and you can see it in these horns. You see how that horn and that horn, although they are in the same place, are slightly different shaped. Fantastic detail, fantastic skill, really gives it life. I love the idea of this undergrowth all laid over the top of it, the mushrooms and the flowers, and these bizarre 3 eyes on each side. Little details as well, just to give an idea of scale. It's enormous as it is, but then you get these bird flocks flying through the sky. Even these little scattered buttons that look like, I don't know, like flies maybe, around this enormous beast. Such tiny details in such a massive and expansive build, and it really, really is impressive. If you're thinking of getting into this, it is really worth getting online, searching for illustration, fantasy illustration, artwork. There is tons and tons of stuff out there to be inspired by and to try and imitate or mine for ideas that might give you some way of working towards being a builder here like Uncomfortable. Fantastic. Thanks very much, Uncomfortable. You have made this episode a really interesting one to film. So there we have it, guys. That is another episode, another set of plots to look at and be inspired by. And hopefully, guys, this has helped you get some ideas of what to do, what not to do, and how to move your creative building forward. So, guys, until the next time, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get that 200 hit before July. Like the video, and I will see you in the next one.